Good evening. Welcome to the June 8th school committee meeting. Usually, our first meeting following an election, that we do have a reorganization of the board. Unfortunately, it did not make our agenda, so due to posting requirements, at our next meeting, we will be reorganizing. So I make that statement, so I will act as chairman this evening, just carry my duties through. From there, after that, there will be a full reorganization of the board. Okay. First on the business this evening is the minutes of, and excuse me, I'm alternating glasses on eye treatment today, so, from May the 11th. In our packets, we do have minutes from May the 11th, and they are from present that evening was Mrs. Ennis, Mr. Spitz, Mrs. Griffin, Mr. Bitar, and myself, all present. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion, corrections, omissions. Being none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let the record show 5 in the affirmative, and minutes are approved. Next item of business will involve, I'll pass the agenda to Dr. Garceau, and we will discuss school choice this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The committee will remember that last month we voted to adopt the school choice policy, which outlined dates by which this decision would be made annually, how things would be figured, how it would be reported to the state. And under the law, all districts can and frankly must, unless they indicate otherwise, accept students from surrounding communities, but they can do that with, based on space and availability. So the deadline to report to the state was June 1st, but due to the Memorial Day holiday, we were going to miss that deadline, and I was in touch with the Department of Ed, and basically said there's no formal procedure for an extension, just let us know the pleasure of the committee following the meeting on the 8th. So here we are. And where last year the committee voted not to accept any students into the district from surrounding communities, and again, this is completely the committee's call on this, I would recommend that we do make available a small number of seats in grades 5 through 10, and I would propose just 3 seats per grade level in 5 through 10. It's my belief that we have the space. I know there are concerns about the potential of the type of students that would come in, but I think we've seen a pretty dramatic reculturing of our buildings over the last year, and I feel confident that that would not be an issue. Even if it were, again, we're talking about 3 per grade level, and we also still have the coffee school if need be. If a student came to OHS and we weren't able to meet their needs here, we could move that student over there. The thinking behind 5 through 10 is that we wouldn't be in the position where we'd have a 12th grader who had burned bridges in their own community and was only looking to graduate coming to us, is my thinking on that. So that's my recommendation, and I leave it to you for deliberation and consideration.
Thank you, Dr. Garceau. I do have a question with that.
Yep.
In the 5 through 10, if the student did not work out, if there were a disciplinary problem or other circumstances that showed that they were not meeting the expectations of the given school they were in, despite going through principal and remediation, is it possible to send the student back to their home setting district?
It's my understanding that it's not. Once a student is accepted into the district, they have the right to attend through 12th grade. So they would be ours.
Right through 12th grade, even including if they're a major discipline problem.
Right. Under the Chapter 222, we would have to educate that student as if they were an Oxford resident. We would have the availability, again, of coffee and all the other remedies that we would use for any other student. But once they come, we own them.
Okay. Secondly, Dr. Garceau, has your office, or to your knowledge, have any principals received inquiries from students from neighboring districts that would like to opt in on school choice if it was made available?
I haven't heard of any this year. I don't know if the principals in the recent
Mr. Tebow?
time.
Wanted to add?
Sure.
Yes.
I don't have any specific numbers, but in communicating with Commander Maisley, I know that there have been some inquiries from folks in neighboring towns specifically wanting to be able to participate in our NJROTC program. So, and that was as recent as this year.
Thank you. Okay. Any members, questions for Dr. Garceau before I entertain a motion? Mrs. Ennis, then Mr. Spence.
Through you to Dr. Garceau, we received the student records, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Can we pick and choose?
We cannot.
So how do we know, it would be like the first three for the fifth grade that apply?
And if there were 4, we'd have to start a lottery. Well, if there were
Okay,
5.
that's how you do
right?
it, okay. All right, thank you.
Sure.
That's all I have.
Mr. Spence, you had a question?
I just still have a statement.
Okay, go ahead.
Without a question, I agree that I think you've made, and the administrators have made great inroads in education in Oxford. I feel very comfortable with the direction that we're taking. I personally, because of all the stipulations that are placed on these students, still do not feel comfortable enough that we would be attracting the type of students that I would love to see come to Oxford. So for me, my opinion really hasn't changed yet. It might next year. I mean, if I see a full year and a cycle of what we're doing, and we get our scores, and we see where we are, without a question of a doubt, I would probably reconsider that opinion. But right now, as it stands, I'm still right with it. I don't feel comfortable with it.
Mr. Pitar.
If I recall correctly, there was an issue around this time last year where a new law was taking effect regarding suspensions or...
Yes.
So, and at the time, we were unsure how that was going to play out. And I'm just curious if we did have a student who ended up becoming a severe problem to the point where they were suspended, what then becomes our obligation at that point?
So our obligation always is to educate the child, whether they live here in town or they were a student to come to us through choice. This is Chapter 222. We can't exclude kids from the learning process and just put them out and not continue to educate them. So, in all honesty, we thought when that law came to be in surrounding communities and they encountered students like that may work to the advantage of things like coffee, that these districts would say, well, we can't meet the students' needs here in district. They need to be educated, so the way that we'll do that is pay tuition for them to attend Oxford. That hasn't happened yet. It just didn't manifest itself the way we were hoping it would. But if it was a student of ours, if it was an OHS student who presented as you described, we would still be responsible for educating that student either through home tutoring or a placement. And more we're starting to look, we're trying to bring students back from out-of-district placement, but we're starting to look at coffee as one of those type of placements because it has serious ramifications on our budget, and it's going to be built into the school's budgets. So that's part of the reason, again, that I proposed these grade levels, because we do have that program as kind of a safety valve.
Thank you.
May I?
Griffin, yes, ma'am.
I guess my only concern is maybe we would be attracting a student that would like to benefit from the services of coffee and attend our district to be able to have that, but we wouldn't have the tuition that student would generate for our community.
We actually would. When I spoke to Mr. Hatch today at the Department of Ed, that was one of my questions, was could we enter into this agreement and exclude certain programs? And his response was, well, no, you can't, because that'd be discriminatory.
Mm-hmm.
But whereas a regular ed student that came to the district could be reimbursed for up to $5,000. For any special education student or a student requiring a tuition, like coffee does, that would be assessed back to the sending district, and we would in fact get that money. So that would come to us.
If that was the case, like the student would need such a placement because,
Right.
okay.
So a student that came to us and eventually ended up at coffee, and with our tuition at $27,000, which is significantly less than most out-of-district programs, that $27,000 would be assessed to the sending community, was the way it was explained to me today.
Is there a way we could have like confirmation of that in writing? I mean,
It's in law, it's on the Mass Regs, it's on their webpage that describes this. I
that's under that
That didn't-
chapter 222?
no, it's actually under the section on school choice.
Okay.
Chapter 222 just, again, says that we bear responsibility for educating all students, whether they're suspended for short or long periods of time. But the financial part comes out of the finance office at DESE, and that's where a student, even if they weren't in coffee, if we had a student that came to us and needed special ed services, speech, OT, PT, whatever, we would be reimbursed for the cost of those services by the sending district.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't know how the other members feel on this. I am ready to vote tonight, and based upon what I heard from Mr. Tebow, that I think I would give school choice a shot. I believe that the ROTC program, the student that attracts, and the extra guidance, and how they go through the students' grades, they're held to very high standards to participate in activities. They have award-winning drill teams. They've been excellent. I mean, I say impeccable way, the community service to town, is that I think if those are the students that are trying to get in and benefit from this great program we have, one of the better in the country, I think I'm willing to give it a shot for a year and see how we do. So at this stage, I would entertain a motion, Dr. Garso.
And if I could just add to that, Mr. Chairman, at this point, there are people who think that NJROTC is really the only show in town, but we're working very hard to strengthen our art program, our music programs, our football program, above all, our academics. And I think we want to make Oxford High School a destination school for a whole host of reasons. And students would not come to the district with the assumption that they could just waltz into the commander's program either. He's got very exacting expectations. So that may be a big draw now, and Mr. Tebow's right, we did have some parents who made inquiries because they wanted their children to participate in that program, but we're looking to build a whole palette of programs that are attractive to the region's best and brightest.
I agree. Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve school choice for this upcoming academic year.
So moved.
Second?
In discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
Let the record show, 3 in affirmative, 2 against, motion passes. We are a school choice district. Next in our packet, we have job descriptions, the OMS Transitional Support Team and OHS School Student Support Coordinator. Dr. Garceau, I see Mr. Cannacchioli and Mr. Nugent, as well as Mr. Tebow. If you gentlemen would please join the discussion. Is there any questions? Dr. Garceau.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So, related to Chapter 222, rather than suspending students out of school, we've had mechanisms within the building where we can provide a continuum of learning opportunities and education, even within the context of in-school suspension. The law doesn't really differentiate whether students are in or out. In addition to providing ongoing educational services, we're looking to build in therapeutic components that turn behaviors around, so that we're not just doling out punitive measures, that we're changing behavior and ensuring our student success. So at both Oxford High School and Oxford Middle School, the principals have proposed job descriptions that would allow us to be more specific in what we're looking for in those positions in terms of participation by the faculty member, and also requirements for the staffing of those positions. So perhaps we'd start with the OMS position, and Mr. Cannacchioli can speak briefly about the job description for that.
Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you. I apologize if my mouth is a little bit off. I just had a wisdom tooth pulled about an hour and a half ago, so It's bleeding, and I'm in a little pain. Anyway,
I hope you can speak to us with some wisdom.
yes, I hope to do that. When I got to the middle school last year, we had what was called an ISS room, and having a pretty extensive behavior background, it's kind of where I came from. I was looking to redesign that room, because it's much more than just a room where kids go for a day and do their work. So we've designed it, I say that Mr. Smith, who runs the room presently, the room wears a lot of hats. We use it as an alternative phys ed, so students who can't participate in phys ed due to an injury report to Mr. Smith, and we have a written curriculum that he does with the students in there. We use it as a timeout for students who are having some minor behavior problems, but have got to the point where they need to be removed from the classroom. We use it as a timeout room. We also use it as a quiet lunch. So for students who behaviors don't warrant them being in the cafeteria for a day or 2 days, they eat their lunch in there. We do use it for in-school suspension, partly, as Dr. Garceau was alluding to, Chapter 222. Instead of suspending kids out of school, we do our best to keep them in school, to educate them. So we do use it as an ISS room. Its location is a great location, right next to the nurse's office and the guidance office. So we also use it for students who are in crisis or in need. We're able to get them to the transitional support room and then to the nurse or to guidance if needed. We also use it as a detention center from 2:30 to 3:30. That's where we hold detention. And it's also a room that is used for makeup work. Students who have fallen behind, teachers might send them down during the day at some non-instruction times for students to have access to getting caught up on work. So it has all sorts of different hats, and it does need a specific person in it, so that's why I developed the job description for that position.
Members, if you've read it, any questions from Mr. Cannocchioli? Comments? Mrs. Ennis?
Just wondering if we could have a salary range for this position?
It's actually an OEA position set by the contract.
Oh, okay.
It's not a new position. It's just a description for a position that's in the OEA.
That'll be first-tier educator. They'll be educator, the same as a teacher.
Yes.
May I ask a question for the chair?
Yes.
I know we had a behavior specialist. Is this position like a behavior specialist position, or?
I wouldn't classify it like that. I mean, he obviously has a background in dealing with behavior and has been in this role. The person who's presently in the position has a behavior background. That would certainly be a requirement. I think I did put that in the qualifications, but it's certainly not comparable to the behavioral specialist that we had in the district presently, or recently.
Mr. Cannocchioli, roughly how many students, and I know there's no average day in education, may be in here, average per week, average student per day per week?
It's a tough question to answer, but I will try my best. As I stated, there's so many different aspects of the room that it has, so, a typical in-school suspension, we might have one student a week, maybe on average in there, on an in-school suspension. Timeouts, probably 3 to 4 a week, potentially, and again, these are just ballpark numbers.
Yeah.
Quiet lunches are quite busy. We have lots of quiet lunches. Quiet lunches due to, like I said, cafeteria behavior that's not acceptable to the community, but also teachers do use that for students who are missing homework. It's kind of a consequence for missing homework. So that room between 10:30 and 12:30 is packed. This year, we've had a lot, I don't know what it is at OMS, but we've had crutches and casts, and it's been a handful. So we've probably serviced, through the alternative phys ed program, I would say upwards of 25 to 30 kids over the course who report there. Instead of walking out to the field or sitting in the gymnasium, they actually go to the transitional support room and receive a phys ed curriculum. Excuse me. So I don't know if that answers your questions. It is an active room. And I said, it wears a lot of hats. Detention center is very busy, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We usually don't have detentions on Tuesday. That's, usually meeting days, but
So
Very busy.
in this role, and I don't see that, and you see detention center, so is it type of a flexible scheduling where that person works?
Yes.
Comes in late and
yes.
comes in later
Well,
and works?
the person who's presently in the position doesn't do the detention center every day. I have some other staff that do that as well. That's beyond the working contract day. But the person presently in the position does, the hour contractually that they're obligated to stay, teachers are obligated to stay after that gets consumed in that hour. I actually cover the detention center quite a bit as well.
Okay. When the person's downtime, it sounds like that there is some downtime. What activities are being done opposite this?
The staff members' downtime?
Yeah, on the staff members' downtime, in terms of not every period, every day, someone may be in there. I know that it's going to be an on-call basis
Right.
for the timeout situation.
I
Other
think...
activities.
Yeah, good question. He will prep for his, he does have contractually, like all the other teachers, has the prep period and has a lunch period.
Correct.
And we'll do some additional prepping in there. I come down and we meet a lot. We talk about strategies and we talk about student issues. So we do some conferencing there. If there is a need in the building for him to be somewhere else temporarily, we'll assign him there. Yeah. I mean, are there moments that there's no one in the room? Absolutely. And then we will try to, assign him a place, or him or her, whoever's in the position, but a place to be in those downtimes. But like I said, between 10:30, I forgot to mention as well, it's also a homeroom. He has a homeroom in the morning, so we have about 5 or 6 students whose homeroom and locker are in the transitional support room. Students who have just shown that they're having a difficult time functioning in the community during those
Small groups,
transition
yes.
times, right.
I get that.
So it's a homeroom in the morning and in the afternoon. And like I said, between 10:30 and 12:30, there's always someone in there. Always. And, the past few weeks, in-house, in-school suspensions have been a little bit higher. So it's been a very busy room.
Okay. Anything further, Ms. Bedard?
Just so I'm clear, given our current budget situation, this job description would not result in any change in salary range or anything? This is an as-is position, we're just reworking the job description?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. You want us to take these separately and approve the positions? Or do you want to
I think they're similar intents. If you want to hear from Mr. Tebow on his.
So, just as Mr. Cannacchioli mentioned, we're really looking for what has traditionally been thought of as an in-school suspension room to serve multi-purposes. At Oxford High School in particular, it's been a challenge this year. The coordinator for the in-school suspension resigned the first day of school, leaving us no notice, and then, if you recall, we added a grade 2 teacher, and so we, being part of the district team, we gave up that position to take a sub-position. And this question, I believe, Mr. Spitz, you spoke to this at the budget workshop. Can it work with a sub? And the answer is just no, it has not worked nearly as effectively as it needs to. Mr. Cannacchioli talked about a specific person, and the same is true of my thing. I'm looking for a specific skill set. Unlike Mr. Cannacchioli, we don't have a person in there right now, so we're looking for a specific skill set, not a specific person, but someone who's going to deal with the social, emotional wellness issues that come up, because we know that if those issues aren't attended to, they manifest themselves in behavior issues in the classroom. We also know that in order to change behavior, that takes, a good amount of work, a good amount of processing what the unwanted behavior was to begin with, and then building up the skill set of the students so that they have a replacement behavior that's much more appropriate, and hopefully that will allow them to avoid being sent out of class in the future. That's the ultimate goal. The other piece that we've struggled with at Oxford High School this year is in terms of students and following through on consequences and things of that nature. if you look at the student handbook, one of the things that it calls for is if you don't serve an office detention, the next progression in discipline is an in-school suspension. Very hard to do if you don't have the in-school suspension room running, or if you don't have the capacity to do that. So again, this would not be just an in-school suspension room, that would be a small piece of it. The other piece would be, the person would be, following up. Most of the time in your in-school suspension room, you have students who are, for lack of a better term, frequent flyers. Those are the students who need the additional support, and it's not a one-time fix, it's an ongoing thing. So that would be the responsibility of this in-school support coordinator, not just if a student is sent there for the day, but proactively checking up and following through with those students so that hopefully they're not back in that situation in the future. And I would be happy to answer any questions about that.
Okay, Mr. Spitz.
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate you for this, because nothing to me is more important for a good education than discipline going hand in hand with it. And I know it's been a struggle this year because of the fact that we do not have a person in place. This, to me, says a lot, and I think you've hit all the major topics on the job description, and I think you did a great job with it. Again, once we put this into place and we go ahead with it, though, I want to see the reaction from the staff and everything else improving as far as from a disciplinary standpoint. And I think this will do it. I think this is the tool for you to do that. So great job on this. I wanted to thank you for putting this together. I read it the other day, and I think it really does cover pretty much everything.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, I would entertain a motion to approve both job descriptions.
So moved.
Second.
Moving in second, discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Griffin, go ahead.
Just one more thing that,
Go right ahead.
for clarification, noticing that the license in moderate disabilities is looked at for part of the job description, but not in the middle school. Just out of curiosity,
So in
not the same need.
So in having conversations with Mr. Carnacchioli, I believe the fact that, and correct me if I misspeak, but the middle school runs it as an alternative phys ed as well, factored into what license you were looking for?
Right.
In terms of, from my perspective, traditionally, teachers who have a background in special education are better able to meet the needs of students. Not that teachers without a background in special ed can't meet those needs, but with the moderate disabilities license, I'm hoping to attract a candidate who has extensive background in special education and also with that behavior management. I think it was you that had asked a question about a behavior specialist.
Right.
That's the type of work, not exclusively, but a lot of that work is what I see happening in the high school, in that position.
And less so in the middle school in that position.
No, I mean, I really didn't try, and Mr. Tebow did a nice job. We do processing as well in there. I didn't really talk about that, but yeah, I mean, the whole goal is to process with the students, figure out coping skills and mechanisms on how to avoid those behaviors moving forward. And if need be, have conversations with teachers and students to kind of come up with a plan, very individualized plans for some kids, to figure out how we're going to keep them in the classroom, because that's where they need to be. They need to be getting that direct instruction, but they also need to be able to behave to the point where other students aren't being affected by those disruptions. So yeah, there is, and I apologize for not speaking to that, but there is processing that goes place before students return to classes, whether it's from a timeout or an in-school suspension. So.
I guess I'm kind of curious, is more the physical education piece a big piece, or is it more the
Well, I mean, seeing,
special ed?
presently, the students are receiving gym every other day, so there's a lot of gym that
Right.
goes on at the middle school. And we saw that a lot of kids who were just sitting on the sidelines, weren't participating due to injuries, so we created as part of that room. So in order for us to have those kids receive instruction, I wanted a licensed person in that position, or somebody who had the qualifications. So that was a need that we saw at the middle school.
I appreciate that need, and I know it's probably going to flux depending on if,
Right.
you have certain students that have injuries or whatnot, but I kind of feel like the need to have a well-balanced, student who is ready to rejoin the classroom, where somebody that might carry the license that Mr. Tebow is kind of outlining here, as opposed to a PE license, would be a little bit more beneficial, but,
Yep,
I could be completely wrong. I think the special education piece is kind of something I just wouldn't want to see missed, that's all.
Right, no, I agree. The license is just a piece of it, the PE license is just a piece of it. I mean, we are looking for qualifications beyond that, but that's a piece of it to help satisfy the alternative phys ed part. Yes, I mean, a background in handling behavior, whether it's through a special education license or experience or whatnot, and that's kind of how we designed that, or at least I designed that.
Mr. Bedard?
One other question, and similar to my last question about the position at OHS, how are we paying for this?
It's an OEA position in the budget. Again, it was in the budget previously, but when we opened that extra second grade classroom, it was at the expense of that position.
So, given our extreme fiscal constraints going into next year, what trade-off are we making by filling this position versus another one?
Well, one of the things we're avoiding is the potentiality of, again, we keep talking about Chapter 222, of having to place students out of district. If we can meet their needs in the building, it's going to be at a significant savings to the alternative.
Mr. Tebow, you want to add?
Yeah, can I just add also, Dr. Gasso, you'll recall that we also converted a position by becoming more efficient at the high school in terms of how services would be delivered to students on IEPs. That freed up some room so that this became a conversion, not an additional position.
Could you explain that, please?
So that we, part of the third big objective for us this school year was to pursue fiscal and organizational efficiencies. And so when we were reviewing how the co-teaching model is used in terms of special ed, and in terms of looking at student need, we were able to reduce some of the services that are provided. We were able to consolidate who was providing those services. So we didn't need a full teaching position, so we were able to convert that and also make use of one of the TAs to provide some of the services that otherwise this year was provided by a teacher. So it was just becoming a little more efficient in terms of that.
Thank you, Mr. Tebow. Anything else? Okay. We had a motion, we had a second. Any further discussion? Being none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of both job descriptions and positions, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Being none, let the record show 5 in the affirmative, and both positions are approved. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in. Thank you for your input. Please move. Okay, the next item on the agenda is MOU for combined school business manager and finance director position, and Dr. Garceau. We do have a document that was in our packets.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This document was prepared by, I believe it was prepared by Town Manager Palea, and what it does is memorialize the arrangement that was made between the town and the school department a few months back when Mr. Matthew left us as business manager, and an agreement was made to enter into a trial basis sharing of the expertise of Donna Folio. Since that time, Donna has been over with us, I would say at least 50% of the time. She's at Maple virtually every day, and has done a terrific job of helping to identify efficiencies and clean up some of our budgeting practices. And what this document really does is just capture the arrangement and make very clear that this is on a trial basis, that we would revisit it 6 months from the beginning of the arrangement. And as Mr. Palea said at the outset, and as I indicated at the outset, that if it works, we continue. If it's not working for either of us, we go back to the old model and we post for a business manager. So He and I believe the committee both felt more comfortable with the idea of having an MOA in place.
Thank you, Dr. Garceau. Ms. Foley is in attendance. I do thank her for working with the school department, working with us and our staff down in central office, and sharing the times and bringing in expertise to our office as well, too, as we transition to our next phase on how we do business. And I do agree that there is incredible cost savings with this, but also a wealth of knowledge, where it appears there has been a lot of duplication, that there's a better structuring of duties, and we see simplifications, but yet more efficiencies going through. So this document spells out, when we met with Mr. Paya, basically the same thing, including the financial arrangement as well, too.
That's not
not in here.
in detail, no, but I can tell you the financial arrangement.
Please.
Rather than pay the salary of Mr. Matthew, which was just north of $100,000, we're being assessed $8,000 annually for the services of Ms. Folio.
Thank you. And, okay, and I see Dr. Garceau has been, I don't know how to put it, but he's more than satisfied with the arrangement that we
Very
have.
pleased so far.
Very
I
pleased so
have,
far.
yes.
Thank you. Okay, questions? Mr. Bitar?
I have a couple of comments about this. The first comment that I have was with regards to the statement that if no party takes action before the end of 6 months, the consolidation will be deemed permanent. I'd like to see that statement stricken from this. I think that the statement itself has a sense of permanency, and not that we're not satisfied with Mrs. Folio's performance today, but that's not to say that this will continue to work out forever, and I think the way that it's stated is not appropriate. I'd like to see that reworded. I'd also like to see this include the financial arrangement, so it's in the MOU. And my last question/concern was with regards to licensure. If this is going to be something that we are do long-term, I think it may be wise to look at, and I think Donna had said she'd be willing to, but I'd like to see a school business manager licensure, because the way that the school business, the school finances runs is different than the municipal side of the house, and, not to say that she's not capable, but I'd like to just make sure that the licensure, and I don't know if that's covered since it's in the current job description, and it seems as though this is saying that it covers the job description with the exception of what they laid out, but I'd just like that noted.
Well, Mr. Bitar, I think that is noted, and I think we do need clarification on that. With her, granted her as well as municipal experience, she probably is licensable, and then just to put that through there, that we are covered in the law. And on your first point, is when this was made arrangement, and it was a verbal arrangement, Ms. Paya, that I remember saying, we'll revisit it in 6 months.
And I recall that as well, but I believe that there was another statement made that, if at any time we feel as though the arrangement isn't working, we can revisit it.
Yeah.
And this is saying if no party takes action before the end of the 6 months, it will be deemed permanent.
Exactly, and I agree with you that. We'll take no action on this. We'll send it back for clarification. Ms. Paya, work out that, please.
I'd be happy to, and Mr. Bitar, if there's alternative language that you'd like to propose, either now or within the next few days, just let me know, and I'll forward that to Mr. Palaia.
I'm not sure of the exact language, but I'd like to see us take out, perhaps we just say initial 6-month trial period. I don't know that second clause, and if no party takes action before the end of 6 months, the consolidation will be deemed permanent. I guess that would be my recommendation, to strike that clause.
I agree.
I will certainly work with him on that.
Anything else? Very good, thank you, Mr. Bitar. Okay, our next item, Dr. Garceau, you have a contract for review of appointment of interim director of special ed and student support services.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With the retirement of Director Susan, which becomes effective at the end of June, a search committee had been formed a couple of months back, looking for a new director of special education and pupil services. actually, 3 rounds of initial interviews were completed, and then a number of second interviews were held by myself, with Mr. Tebow and Mr. Nugent joining in one portion of that, and Mr. Nugent and myself and Ms. Folio. Actually, Ms. Folio was on the first round as well. We had a number of qualified candidates apply for the position, but I am here tonight to recommend the appointment of Donna G. Gregorio. Ms. Gregorio is currently serving in a similar role in Haverhill, and I have spoken to her regarding the position, the compensation. I have contacted her references, both at Haverhill and other communities where she worked, and people spoke in glowing terms about her professionalism, her ethical behavior, her hard work, and her knowledge of the field. And so I submit for proposal, for your approval, I should say, that name for the Director of Special Education on an interim basis. This would be a one-year contract, and my hope is that Ms. G. Gregorio, I have to practice that, will quickly distinguish herself as somebody that we want to offer a long-term commitment to.
Thank you, Dr. Garceau. Any questions for Dr. Garceau regarding this? Mrs. Griffin, Captain.
I have a question in regards to our candidate's background. How many years has she been working in the position she's currently in?
I can pull that for you. The current position she's in, she has been there since August of 2014. She's been there roughly a year.
And her experience prior to that, was it also in special education?
She was involved in special education. She's completed an internship as a high school principal. She has been a technology director at an alternative school. She has been a vocational director, developing programming for students 18 to 22.
Okay. I'm kind of on the fence about offering a full one-year position. The approval of it, I have some apprehension. I don't know how the rest of the committee feels. I'm leery because of our district's track record with
I would suggest that that's all the more reason to make a commitment to a candidate. We need to build some stability here. I need to be able to make an offer that's going to attract a qualified candidate. And again, I'm hoping that by Christmas, this person has distinguished themselves, and we're going to be falling over ourselves trying to offer a longer-term deal.
Mr. Batari, you first.
Given what you just said, why not, I'm assuming that there's something that's holding you back from offering her the 3-year contract that we would normally offer someone in this role?
With the track record that the district has had, and some of the hires, frankly, that have been made, I need to do this right. And I want to make sure we've got the right person.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Spitz.
Totally in support of that. I think you hit the nail right on the head. If you have a candidate that has gone through the interview process you're content with right now, I think you have to give that person the vote of confidence to give them a 1-year contract. 1 year, to not go for 3 years is exactly what you should do. This way we can actually see what the person is capable of. And if at the end of 1 year you're not satisfied, or we're not satisfied with the productivity of that individual, it's pretty simple to end the contract, and we're out of it. I think you have to give somebody, a professional, a contract. And I think this is the way to do it, to do a 1 year. So I'm totally in support of that.
Okay. I stand with Mr. Spitz in this one as well, too. Especially when you're talking about the superintendent building a cabinet, talking about the major turnover, the district and rebuilding the district, someone that's that he believes that works within his system and is part of the system, and it's a one-year deal. There's tremendous turnover happening right now, and he's building a system, building a team, so I'm all in favor of that as well, too. Anything else? No. I entertain a motion to offer Ms. Gregorio a one-year contract as interim special education director.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second, further discussion? Being none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed.
One opposed, let the record show, 4 in affirmative, 1 in negative, and we can go ahead and offer that contract, please.
Thank you.
Thank you for your hard work on bringing us a name. Okay. Next up, we're going to talk, I'll invite Mrs. Daly forward to talk about the summer reading program, and we do have a supplement in our packets for that.
Good evening. I'm here to present the summer reading program for grades K through 12 this evening.
Sure. If you just give us, just pause for a second,
Sure.
because we're shuffling papers and...
Sure.
I have it, yeah. Anyone else need a copy? Yeah, I have it. Anyone else? Yeah, okay.
Beginning with kindergarten and first grade, current kindergarteners and first grade at the A.M. Chafee School. They will be participating this summer in Barnes & Noble's Imagination Destination Reading Program. And with this program, Barnes & Noble's has created a variety of activities, as well as a little incentive for students to, if they read 8 books this summer of their choosing, they fill out the little journal, put the title of the book, the author, and a sentence or two describing what they read. They bring that to Barnes & Noble before the middle of September. They're able to select a free book from a selected list that Barnes & Nobles is willing to offer. So that's a huge incentive. Though we want students to read an awful lot, they can fill out 2, they can fill out 3, they can fill out 4. As many as they read, they will be compensated with 1 book for each 8 that they return. They have to return it, however, to the store to collect their book. On June 12th, we're having Lorinda from the Oxford Public Library come and present the library's program, summer program. It's called Heroes. Several activities are prepared this summer. She'll outline those on June 12th at Chafee. Students who read books for Barnes & Noble's program could also use them for the library program.
Mrs. Dillon, I just want to stop and commend you on that. I know
Sure.
over the last couple of years, we've had a tremendous partnership with the Oxford Library. I think years in the past, there was always a struggle, and I think you've really done a great job with coordinating with the library and really making this a town-wide initiative. It's wonderful. Thank you for
So
that.
there's that piece. There is one activity from Barnes & Noble that is required for all students in kindergarten and grade 1, and that's activity 4. And then they're expected to do one other. There are 3 other choices. They can pick one, and that will need to be turned in on the first day of school. At Clara Barton School, students entering grade 3, what I'm going to do on June 12th, the literacy teachers from Clara Barton will go to talk to grade 2 teachers at that kickoff, the summer kickoff, and they'll be able to explain what their expectations are for their summer reading for grade 3. Grade 3 this summer will be reading Clementine, a cute little story, chapter book. Second grade is very excited about chapter books. It's kind of a new thing for them. Their visit from the library will be June 24th, their last day of school. And again, we'll have, they can also participate in the Barnes & Noble program, reading not only that one Clementine book, that certainly can go on their list, but if they come up with 7 other books that they read this summer, they can also turn that in for free materials at Barnes & Noble as well. Their day for the library is June 24th, their last day of school. Grade 4 will be reading the Lemonade Stand. The Lemonade War, sorry. They create a lemonade stand. That's their project. Again, chapter book for grade 4, very appropriate for entering 4th grade. Again, we want to encourage them not only to read this one book and do the assignment that will be sent home with students, but also to participate in either the library and/or Barnes & Noble program. We'll put all of those templates and requirements, all of the sheets right online, so if they should misplace or lose what's sent home with them, they're also available there. You can also go to Barnes & Noble's site and download everything, and I believe it's already there. So that's grade 4. Grade 5 will be reading The Sign of the Beaver, a book by Elizabeth George Spear. Ties into the social studies curriculum. There will be books available to borrow if necessary for students who are unable to get them. The middle school has copies of them that they will lend out. Grade 6 students will be reading The Breadwinner. This book we do not have copies of, however, it is available online through our Follett bookshelf. Grade 7 will...
Good question.
Sure,
Sure.
Mr. Spitzer.
All this that we have for the middle school, is this have you checked with the library to see if it's available there for them to take out as well?
Yes,
Because-
what I do with the library, I'll give them, if it's approved this evening, I will give them a list. I will also give Barnes & Noble the list so that they will order sufficient, so that they have them on hand.
I'm more concerned with the kids that might not be able to afford buying the book.
I will
You know,
contact the library and give them our list, and they generally borrow from other branches so that they're available for
Right,
us.
thank you.
And they make a nice display in the library, so that a little easier to find.
Thank you.
They really do.
Sure.
I can't say positive things with the library. I know every year I bring my kids down there, they all want to go to Barnes & Nobles and buy the book. Well, let's stop by your library, and there's stacks of them available. They really, there's a very good coordinated effort there.
Thank you.
Grade 7, I don't know if I said this one, is Johnny Tremaine. Grade 8 will be Anne Frank, The Diary of a Young Girl. Questions will be sent home with this, with each of these books. The books will be available for all of them except The Breadwinner. So if students need to borrow one right from the school, they can do that before school gets out, or with the offices being open a few days each week during the summer, we'll have some of them in the library for borrow as well. Students are expected to not only read the book, but to prepare themselves for discussion groups when they return to school. They should also bring the book with them because there will be written activities that it will be necessary to use the novel for. And I think that brings us to the high school. Actually, grades 5 and 6 can participate in Barnes & Noble's summer program as well as the library's summer program. That stops after grade 6. The high school has taken a little different route this summer as well. And here we have prepared the list that I believe is in your packet. We've selected some humanities, books that will tie in with humanities, STEM, as well as the arts. And the students will once again read their books carefully, select carefully, read their book carefully, creating a dialectical journal this summer, as well as when they return, they should be prepared for a discussion for a Socratic seminar. So they will be scored on both their journal as well as their participation in the discussion when they return. So that kind of sums things up. Not only are we wanting children to read the one book or two books that they select this summer, we want them to be real readers and read for enjoyment. Summer vacation is a good time to do that. They're not reading textbooks or required books, but working at their own pace to read something of enjoyment as well. If you have questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mrs. Daly. Questions, Mr. Bitar?
Thank you. When I read through the packet, it seemed as though, and I could be wrong, it seemed as though Clara Barton also had a math packet,
They do,
and no other grade levels or schools?
just grade 3 and 4, entering grade 3 and entering grade 4.
Okay, and just out of curiosity, what's the rationale for that versus the other? I'm just surprised that it would only be one building doing it.
Just to focus on improving math skills, a good time to prevent the summer drain, and just keep them sharp with their math skills at that time in those grades.
Mr. Knuckle, would you like to add something, please?
The 10 marks, right. There is a program online for grades 5 through 8, or any other grades as well. It's called 10 Marks, which is an online program that they will be working on. It's a voluntary program. Everything is online. You just pretty much sign up. You got a username and password, and you go in and you practice. It's a practice-type program.
I see a disconnect. I think that it's great, but probably should be doing it across the board, or it just seems like the kids at Barton have quite a bit of work between their project and believe me, my daughter's going to be at Chafee again, and I don't necessarily want to fight with her to do all this homework over the summer, but it just seems like there's a little bit of a disconnect in my mind. And I was surprised that the high school only has one. Is that normal, or? I just would have thought that they would have had more than one book to read.
Meeting with department heads and the English department, we wanted them to focus on the one book and really focus on it, complete their dialectical journal, as well as prepare themselves for listening and speaking standards when they come back for their Socratic seminar. It may look like only one book. Some of them are a bit lengthy, but also they're not really just reading for enjoyment. They're reading for discussion. They're going to need to be able to respond to that text as well.
And in full disclosure, I have no idea what a dialectical journal is, so perhaps
It's a response journal. It's like a 2-column. You're responding to various parts in the text, what your thoughts are and what your feelings are toward it, and why maybe the author used that vocabulary.
So are there some laid-out questions for each of these texts that they need to kind of?
There's a skeleton. They've been working
Okay.
on that in their English classes here, so it's a carryover
Okay.
from here, from the school year through summer, across the curriculum too, which is the important piece.
Okay, anyone else?
Mr. Tebow has-
Oh, Mr. Tebow, I'm sorry.
I would just like to clarify as well that there are additional assignments for students going to AP courses as well.
Right.
So they won't, it's not just the summer reading assignment, but if a student is taking, AP math or AP, history, there are additional assignments that AP students are expected to do as well.
Fair enough, thank you.
Very good, thank you, Mr. Tebow. Anything further? I'd entertain a motion to approve the summer reading list as laid out by Mrs. Daly this evening.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded, discussion? Being none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Being none, record show 5 in the affirmative, and summer reading is passed. Thank you, Mrs. Daly. And I do have another question, part of my request tonight. I'll hold that to the end.
Okay.
I have just a comment I'll make later, but it regards you and Mr. Tebow with the high school piece, but I'll hold that to the end.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next up, we're going to go to Mr. Nugent and Mr. Tebow with the Oxford High School School Improvement Plan. I do appreciate the intro page It's very nice before you read something. It's something I teach my students and I'll always put a cover page on, so it's like you're writing a letter coming in. It really helped to see the mindset in the incredible amount of work that gentleman and your school put together with this. Thank you for that.
Thank you. So the introductory letter really does capture the key components of the school improvement plan. And to look at a school improvement plan as a whole can be overwhelming. It seems like there's a ton of work to do, and there is a ton of work to do, but it really does boil down to a few overarching objectives, and a lot of the work, a lot of the activities are all interconnected. And so I'll briefly go through this, and then I think it'll be more productive to answer any questions you have. We started with the theory of action. We started with the theory of action that if we build a community of learners who are committed to continual improvement of the instructional core and the systems and supports necessary for student success based upon the systematic use of data, then all students will graduate from Oxford High School, college, and career ready. The other evening at the graduation, Dr. Garceau spoke about the student we want to graduate. And that's really what this school improvement plan is all about, is about continuing the work that we started this year around improving the instructional core, around raising the rigor for all students, and making sure that every student, it's not just a cliche or, empty words, but that we're really living it. That every student who comes in exits college and career ready. And so that's what this school improvement plan is really all about. And we plan to achieve that really around three objectives. The first one is just about improving access to rigorous curriculum and high-quality instruction. So again, it's a continuation of the types of activities that we started this year. It's a continuation to ensure that we develop a common understanding of what high-quality instruction is, what it looks like. This year we started and we focused on the shifts in literacy. So really focusing on driving students back to the text, making sure students are continually going back and supporting their answers with evidence from the text, and that we're not accepting one-word answers, we're not, asking low-level questions, but really higher-order thinking, really text-dependent, driving home that idea that students have to defend their answers. Next year, we will continue that. However, we'll also look to start to embed the shifts in math, because mathematical practices need to be embedded. And so they're not dissimilar from the work that we've already started, but they are specific to mathematics. And so we really need to start that work next school year, making sure that our students in math are expected to persevere in problem solving, make sense of the problem, make sure that they are defending their reasoning, and things along that line. And so with that, that's what drives kind of the activities in this first objective. It's around continuing to unpack the mass curriculum frameworks and the Common Core standards. It's around making sure that our teachers are really clear about what the shifts in the Common Core demand. And so that's the focus of Objective 1. In order to do that work, we need to develop and implement a comprehensive system of professional development. And when I presented this plan, when we discussed it at the high school council last month, one of the parents said, well, what do you mean by comprehensive system of professional development? And what we mean by that is that we have laid out, one of the things that's very frustrating to teachers is when they think that there's something new. It's always something new, and it's, one more thing on our plate, and how do they expect us to do that, and we don't have the training or the professional development around it. And so the comprehensive system of professional development is just that. It's a laid out map for the year of the professional development offerings that we're going to provide, but it's also responsive to the feedback that we're collecting throughout the school year, so that when we're doing observational observations of classroom instruction, that we're taking the feedback from those observations to inform future PD. So it's that's what's meant by comprehensive system of professional development. So that's Objective 1. And again, as I said, any specific questions about specific activities laid out in the plan, I'll be happy to answer in just a second. The second objective is really around continuing to develop a data-driven culture, and to enhance the capacity of our educators to do that. This year, we've started that work with Director Phillips on board. He's going to certainly help in terms of enhancing the district data team and the activities that the district data team does. But really, this is also about getting teachers to understand how formative assessment data can be used routinely to improve their instruction and make the instruction better for teachers. Mrs. Griffin just shared with me a book on formative assessment data and transformative assessment, and that's the exact type of work that we're looking to continue in our school next year. And it's going to be systematic, though, because, in pockets right now, it's already happening. You walk through, some teachers are already doing this work, but it hasn't become systematic yet the way it needs to be, and so that will be a major focus of the school improvement plan for next year. And then again, another highlighted activity from Objective 2 is the use of common data displays, because it's not just about the teachers owning the data, but it's also about the students taking ownership of their own learning, and students seeing, how they're progressing and how they're growing as the school year plays out. And so that's just another part of Objective 2. And then the third objective is around continuing to increase our capacity to challenge our students who are excelling, but also to providing a safety net for students who are not quite proficient yet. So this third objective, it's really about individualizing the education that students receive. It's about making sure that students who are ready to take on additional challenges have those opportunities, and it's also to make sure that students who are not quite proficient yet have the support they need to, at a minimal, be proficient when they leave. And so that's what Objective 3 is about. And again, how do you do that? Well, for the enrichment offerings and for our accelerated learners, it's about continuing to use PSATs. That was part of the budget request that I made this year, was to fund PSATs for all 10th and 11th graders. It was a success that I highlighted in our, in the introductory letter I gave you, that we were able to increase the PSAT participation. And for communities that don't offer PSATs universally, we were among the highest in terms of participation rate. But when you look at some of the level 1 schools in our area, in 11, some of those schools that excel, they're in 90% of students taking PSATs. It's because they fund those, for students. So we're looking to continue to increase opportunities like that for our students, also to continue to increase AP offerings for our students. And also, one of the big areas of focus that I would like to see our guidance department take on next year is around dual enrollment. We have dual enrollment agreements in place with Nichols College as well as Quinsigamond Community College. And we have students who do take advantage of it, but I'd like to see us push that a little bit more as well. And so that will be a focus. Enhanced community partnerships. This one I'm really talking about the School to Career program. Our goal should be to get our seniors out into the community in meaningful contextual learning experiences for them, so that they're not just in the classroom all day, but they're actually out there in a career pathway of their choosing, or several career pathways of their choosing, in paid or unpaid internships, but getting real-life experience. Mrs. Hope is one of the parents on the high school council, and her and I were talking the other day, and she was talking about at her place of employment how the 16 and 17-year-olds struggle to keep the job because they don't understand that if you're just a few minutes late, that's not going to be tolerated repeatedly. And that might seem like a small detail, but until you learn that in the real world, it's something you can't fully appreciate. And so little things like that, by having our students out into the community, will provide them with those learning opportunities. And so if you read the whole plan, it seems like a lot, but it's really about 3 objectives. It's really about a continuation of our 3 objectives from this school year. And Mrs. Taborda, who is one of the teachers on the high school council, was cautioning me, and rightfully so, that teachers might feel pressure by this school improvement plan, because it's a lot, and it is a lot. But it's the work that needs to be done for high-quality instruction. It's really, the activities are not wasteful activities, it's nothing, it's not, none of these activities are done just to say we're doing them. They all come back to really improving the instruction that takes place in the building. And it also, with the new schedule next year, they'll have additional time in common planning time to do the work. So I'm confident that it's ambitious, but it's achievable. It's also very tightly in line to the draft version of the district's accelerated improvement plan. We've been developing that over the last couple of months, and so that is what really drove this work. So there won't be, anyone who would review the plans would not say, gee, the district is saying this is our vision, and then the high school's, off in left field somewhere. That's not the case. They're very tightly aligned into plans. And then finally, I already spoke to that point, that the increased time due to the adoption of the new master schedule will allow for adequate time to do the work that's outlined in detail in the plan. And with that being said, I will answer any specific questions there are.
Thank you. Mr. Spence?
My big question is, when are we going to get an update as to where you are on this year? When do you want to commit to us to, like January? I mean, to give us an update as to, okay, this is what we've accomplished, or this is what has been set in place, and this is where I still have to go, or the school still has to go. I'd like to hear that, because I think this is terrific. I mean, I read through both of them, and I think it's a great plan.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I was kind of thinking as I was reading through it. If you think it's achievable, I'm psyched about that. That's really a good thing. I just want to know, I would like an update, though.
Sure.
So what would be a fair time for you?
So the high school council will meet monthly, and that's one of the things, too, I should put out in full disclosure, is the high school council did not meet monthly this year. High school councils are typically very difficult to form because you have to have parity in terms of the number of teachers and the number of parents. I'm very happy to say that that parity's been achieved. We have some great parent members, and so if they're watching at home, I would like to thank Mrs. Barocco, Mrs. Hope, and Mr. Kirsting, who have committed. Next year, I'm going to be looking to add a few parents. But to answer your question specifically, we'll be meeting monthly. This will be the focus of those monthly meetings in terms of checking in, where are we, what do we need to do we need to adjust things? So I would be happy to commit to reporting back at, the half-year point. I think that that's more than fair to, provide an update. And then again, obviously, how we do with this informs our next school improvement plan for the following year.
That's great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mrs. Griff?
How many meetings did you guys have this year?
We only had one official meeting of the high school council this year.
And this is like a school council, correct, that we're supposed to,
Yep, school council is supposed to.
by law, having these monthly?
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Anything else? Comments?
And so I would just also add that the schedule has already been published for next year, and so
Okay.
that will definitely be happening.
That's good to hear.
Thank you. Mr. Bitar?
I just want to say, this is only my second school improvement plan for the high school. I only had the opportunity to do it as a review last year's as a brand-new school committee member this year, and I don't know if this, I don't know who came up with this format, but this is leaps and bounds over what we've had previous. I had to take a double take because I noticed that the high school and the middle school are the same format, and to my pleasure, because last year we got very different plans that were kind of speaking to the point where it didn't seem like the district was running on the same, like every building was running on the same goals. So I think that this is very well laid out. It's easy to read. There is a lot of information there. I think that you certainly have your work cut out for you, because I think this is very ambitious. But as a member of the committee, we have to be cognizant that our district does bear that level 3 designation because of the high school. I'm not pointing fingers at you, but that's the school that bears that designation. So I think that it's appropriate that it's a very ambitious plan. And like I said, I think you have your work cut out for you, but if you're up to the challenge, that's what we need here.
It's nice to see that alignment, though.
Yes. Just a couple comments. Thank you for the hard work on this, and always remember, your school improvement plan leads to culture. And that's the driver that for your schools, to your educators, teachers, faculty, students, everyone, our parents, to buy in. This is how Oxford High School is changing. This is where we're going with that. The internships, I think, is incredible. I'm a school career teacher myself, been working school career my whole life, and it just, the connections you make, and I hear so many great stories of students that you have in the community and the things that they do. And like, a lot of the kids are from Coffee that go out there as well too, but other students that go out there, it's like, wow, these are our kids in the field and what they're doing. People got to see that. Dual enrollment, it's really nice. Have you looked into articulations at all with Quincy? As you start looking at improving, as doing your restructure of courses, the two-year pathway type courses, where it kind of fits into your pathways?
So I did have one preliminary meeting with, I forget her name. It's awful, I forget her name. She was from QCC. And we did start to talk about articulation agreements, in particular with the fourth year of math being required. That's what the center of our conversation was, so that students could receive, Oxford High School credit, but also test out of remedial math courses at QCC, so that they weren't wasting money or time. So that's a conversation that we'll look to continue, so that there's some concrete plans in place, not for next school year, but for the following school year. But that work
Particularly with the
will be done next year.
AccuPlacer, and then we get students that to be able to test out, get beyond that and get college credit for, like, for example, get in, like, an early childhood, or you get it in a computer information systems, it's a student saving $5,000, $7,000 in a course.
Yeah, and our guidance counselor, Mr. Ward, currently oversees the AccuPlacer, and I know we gave it at least 3 times, I want to say 3 times this school year.
Oh, good.
So that piece is in place, but the formal articulation agreement absolutely will
Thank you.
work.
And the last thing, and you do make quite a bit of reference to it, and I really, what it looks like is that we're a small school, and there are such benefits in what I see in the school improvement plan, and I see it in the middle school one as well too, hopefully I'll see it in the other one, is the individualization. It's not just, this is how we're going to do it, and the kid's got to get it. It's putting the onus back on us to say, what do we have to do to make sure that the students are getting what we're trying to teach them? What type of interventions are going in to put every kid on the same page and moving forward? And I think that's a huge step to get us from a 3 to a 2, is start realizing, well, we're teaching them, they're not getting it. Well, maybe we're not teaching them everything they need, or they have a disability that we haven't found yet to get them to that level. And I think that's huge, and I thank you for your hard work on that.
Thanks.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, to make a motion to accept the school improvement plan for the Oxford High School.
So moved.
Second.
Oh,
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Hearing none, all is in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the record show 5 in favor. Thank you for the hard work, gentlemen. And thank you for the member of the school council, and I'm glad there will be ongoing meetings. Mr. Cannacchioli.
Good evening. On behalf of the staff and the parents at Oxford Middle School, I'd just like to thank you for this opportunity to present our school improvement plan. We started working on this plan in November of 2014, and we completed it in May, this past May. We did meet monthly. Members of the OMSAC, which is our Oxford Middle School Advisory Council, were the driving force behind this plan, in collaboration with data that we had collected from a professional development activity that we had, or that the staff at Oxford Middle School participated in March. So I want to thank all the teachers who participated in that PD activity in March, but also to the members of our OMSAC committee. Kathy Hackett, Judy Hodgeny, Joanne Gremsky, Sue Peltier, staff members from Oxford Middle School. And then a very special thanks to our talented group of parents who were major contributors to the task that you see in front of you, the task that we accomplished and the product that you see in front of you. Shelley Lambert, Mimi Mum, and Stephanie Forbes, September Forbes. Kathy Schomer had started the year with us, but due to her accepting a position at Clara Barton, we had to replace her with September. I just want to pay particular note, or a shout out, I should say, to Shelley, who did a great job as our recording secretary. We had ideas that were moving fast and furious throughout the meetings, and she was able to capture a lot of the ideas that we had going on during those meetings. And I'd like to, just to make a kind of shift just quickly to Mimi Mum. I'm not sure if some of you know this, but she comes down once a month after we've identified our students of the month. She takes individual photos of them, she takes group photos of them, she sends them off to the Webster Times. So she goes above and beyond. So I just want to give her a shout out publicly and thank her for all her efforts, not only with that, but on the committee. And September has been a welcomed addition, a very knowledgeable woman in the educational field herself. So I look forward to hopefully all three of these women continuing to join us in the fall. The school improvement plan, as Mr. Tebow alluded to at the end of his presentation, reflects the big three that we're working on as a district that Dr. Garceau has adopted. And also, it collaborates or aligns with the district's accelerated improvement plan that the administrative team has been working on with DSAC. So, modifications, additions, and deletions will continue in the coming years to keep our SIP, focused and relevant, but by keeping the plan narrow in scope, our efforts will be concentrated towards real improvements and growth at OMS for the upcoming school year. So what I did was, you have the draft. This is just kind of just a smaller version of it so that you can follow along with me. I didn't have the PowerPoint.
Thank you.
I didn't know we were doing
Thank you.
PowerPoints, so I apologize.
He's just a show-off.
He's the high achiever.
Why don't you do president next year, really get him?
So this just kind of captures the improvement plan just a little bit. I mean, and I agree with you, Mr. Mattar, it is a lot easier than the past ones. But this just kind of identifies our theory of action is that we believe that there's a clear focus on effective delivery of an aligned curriculum by high-quality teachers who employ the use of student data to drive instruction, established in a community with high academic and behavior expectations. Students will be engaged and learn at proficient and advanced levels, leaving OMS prepared for high school. So that's kind of our theory of action. And we broke it down into 3 objectives, and then within those objectives, there's initiatives and activities. So, what I will do is just kind of talk about each of the 3 objectives, and then pick kind of an activity just to talk about a little bit in each initiative. So, objective 1, and again, a lot of this is similar to what you saw with the high school, but also aligned with what we're doing in the district, is to improve student achievement by ensuring access to rigorous curriculum and high-quality instruction in all classrooms, thereby increasing effectiveness of teaching and learning in Oxford Middle School. So initiative 1 was to establish a common understanding of high-quality instruction and planning by identifying and implementing best practices critical to student achievement, ensuring their presence in all classrooms. And one of the things that teachers really talked a lot about, and you'll see it in activity 1.12, is reinstating learning walks at OMS to observe and share high-quality instruction and best practices to provide targeted feedback to staff. That is something that was going on at the middle school last year. We got away from it this year, and the staff really would like to get back to that. So that's one of the big activities under that initiative. But also 1.13, with the new schedule that we adopted at the middle school, we are going to now provide for common planning time, grade level, but also subject level, so that teachers can collaborate and work as subject teachers and kind of work together to improve their instruction, improve where they want to take their curriculum. Initiative 1.2 is develop and update and implement curriculum maps across all content areas that delineate grade-specific content, practice standards, and common assessments according to the district guidelines. And one of the focuses that the parents really had, and it will be captured in 1.2.2, is that the science teachers will be provided with time and training to collaboratively identify knowledge and skill gaps to reconcile to the Common Core state standards. So a lot of the parents all three parents felt that their children weren't where they should be with the science standards. So that's going to be a focus within our building next year. Initiative 1.3, ensure continuous curricular and instructional improvement efforts by implementing the district curriculum review process and schedule. So this kind of aligns to the accelerated improvement plan. So we are going to create a school-based team, as you see it in activity 1.31, to represent OMS on curriculum review committee and serving as a liaison between the district and the middle school. Objective 2, to continue to develop a data-driven culture that builds the capacity of OMS to monitor all improvement efforts and to make data-based decisions. And under that, we have 3 initiatives. 2.1 is to establish a school-wide plan that identifies the quantitative and qualitative data that will be used to assess improvements in core instruction and school culture. And, I think this is something that we've had as a district. We've had a lot of data, but we just haven't really done a lot with it. So we're going to identify the data that's going to be collected and analyzed, and then we're going to use that data to adjust our instructional practices. So this just kind of captures it, but you'll see that, there's going to be PD provided with all, and discussions will continue on how we're going to do that. Initiative 2.2, develop the capacity of OMS administration and teaching teams to use relevant data to drive their instructional practice, and this is where it ties into PD in 2.21. And then we're going to develop in 2.22 is develop, implement, and regularly evaluate student success plans to identify action strategies and resources to use to improve student growth. Kind of goes to what Mr. Coonan was talking about, is to really target in on those students' individual needs and to figure out why they're not being successful. 2.3, build educator capacity to use a variety of formative assessments to consistently inform and adjust practice. I think Mr. Tebow, hit on it in his presentation. 2.31, we just need to develop a building-based common understanding of what formative assessments are. So that's going to be a focus in a few of those activities as well. And then objective 3 is to increase the capacity of OMS to provide targeted interventions and differentiated, rigorous enrichment opportunities for all students. And initiative 3.1 is to develop an array of enrichment programs that will provide accelerated learning opportunities to students demonstrating prior academic success or expressed interest. And one of the key drivers in this next year will be the redesign of our schedule. We now have the opportunity built in for enrichment and intervention. And within that built-in time, we're going to identify, and you'll see in the activities, we're going to identify areas of enrichment that we're going to provide, and we're going to check in on a quarterly basis to see what's working, see what's not working, make adjustments instead of waiting a whole year to adjust what we're doing. Quarterly, and maybe even before a quarter, make adjustments if needed. And 3.2, to provide research-based targeted interventions to support students who are not yet proficient. And activity 3.21 is right out of the AIP, is develop and implement a clear system of protocols to determine students in need of intervention based on data and a systematic approach to monitor efficacy of interventions. This is, again, with this redesign of our schedule, our time schedule, we now have built-in intervention time. In the past, it was not built in, and we had to pull from areas that we did not want to pull from, whether it was from a special, and then sometimes it was actually pulled from instruction, core instruction, to meet the needs of some of these kids. So a lot of that is going to be eliminated with the new design of our schedule. So I think that captures the bulk of the plan, and I don't know if there's any questions that I could answer.
Thank you, Mr. Pacquiao. Mr. Spitz.
Same for you. When can we get an update?
I would say, in what I had said earlier, we started in November. I would like to start our meetings in September. So we will, and like I said, we were meeting once a month. I think it's every third Thursday we meet. And I would say I would align to what the high school's doing. We could, do that all at the same time.
So in January?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
What else? Okay. Mr. Cacchioli, just a couple of key things again. For people watching in the audience for this evening, especially at home, this is if you're looking for an area to get involved in the school, if you really want to find out what goes on at your child's school, get on this SIP team. Get on the Principals Advisory Council, the Parent Advisory Council. Get involved, because this is where the teachers come in, and I spent, I think, 2 years working with SIP with Mrs. Hackett, and it was just enlightening, what the knowledge that's in the room, and just hear the teachers go back and forth and talk about the passion for their jobs and how they want to see this building improved. And as parents say, wow, and the parents, you have your input, and everyone has an equal vote at that table. So if you say, oh, what can I do? It's wonderful that the PTO and his different groups, and they do things after school, and it's great ways for the kids. If you want the nuts and bolts of how your schools run, get yourselves, go to these meetings.
Right.
You'll be very pleasantly surprised of the professionalism and the dedication that Oxford Public Schools carry throughout, and I was so impressed with that. And I was really, say, hey, I went on to school committee after this, because I really was really informed myself what Oxford Public Schools do, and I've been in education at that point for over 20 years. And I learned something every time I went to those meetings. The words you use going through this, protocols, audits, identify gaps, and adjust. It's the same thing. As I praise Mr. Tebow, we're looking at the big picture, and then can we get it down to the microorganisms, is why isn't every single student successful? And you are the largest school, and you probably have the greatest array of problems. If you can do that, again, we can move our district up. This is all part of school culture. One thing I have that I praise you on, you brought up again, is to identify and utilize your community resources. Again, people engagement, getting into the schools. This community just supported us with a huge push for our technology. They supported us at town meeting, they supported us at the ballots. They want to return their buck. Ask them to come in, how can you help us with this?
Right.
That's great. And then, what I didn't see, maybe I missed it going through it, is how about the bottom down? What are we doing to, and you probably have it not in here, transition with Barton School, on how to make that adjustment coming up. That's a huge adjustment coming up to those grades.
Right, I agree. I know, one of the big, the audit of a couple of years ago, one of the big things says we were 4 silos. One of the big things you capture out of it is that we were 4 silos doing 4 different things in 4 different buildings. And I think within our SIPs, we're really aligning, but I also think the transitions from building to building are huge. I know the high school and the middle school are starting to form great relationships. Our math departments met a month or so ago and talking about how we're going to prepare our kids for what they're going to be doing down here, so we have that plan in motion. We just met the other day with music and chorus. We're trying to coordinate that because we have some strengths down the middle school, and they have some strengths down here, and we're trying to get them all to work together so that we're transitioning our kids down. Big focus, right, is grade 4. Actually this week, I have an orientation for parents Thursday night at 10 a.m., Thursday, 10 a.m. There's a session in the morning for parents to come in for an orientation, then at 5 o'clock at night. The 4th grade students are coming in the following week, which we've traditionally done, but I agree, there needs to be more collaboration between the 4th and 5th, which we're working with Mr. Barone on. How do we make that happen? Because they need to be, it's like they need to prepare the kids for the middle school, we need to prepare them for the high school, so they need to know what it is they need to be doing to prepare. So we need to start those conversations. They've started, not as actively as they have with the high school, but that certainly is a goal of mine for next year, for our administrative team to work more closely with Clara Barton to make those transitions smoother.
When you talk about the difference age of maturation, things like that, you talk to your grade 3 and 4 parents, they're scared to send their kids in there. They're dealing with, you got some big 8th graders there.
Yeah.
That they're mini men.
Yep.
And they're little 3rd, 4th graders, they're afraid to go into that building. That's one of the walls that we do have to, I hear from the community, to break down.
Agreed, and I think that's what the meeting is intended to kind of dispel a lot of those myths this week. And then in the fall, probably about, I would say, a week to 2 weeks into the year, the 5th grade, our 5th grade team will be at the school. We'll have a parent kind of university. So that way the parents, we used to do it in the spring, and I thought I'd rather have, as a parent, I was thinking as a parent, and I will have a fifth grade student next year at the middle school, so I'd rather know who my child's teacher is. I would like to know what the routines are, what the protocols are in each classroom for the first 7, 10 days, and then start to go put a name to a face. So we are going to have, I'm hoping it's district-wide, that was something I brought up at our admin meetings. I'm hoping to have a get-to-know-your-school night at the beginning of the year and do one a day, Monday for Chafee, Tuesday for Clara Barton, Wednesday for so that parents could get in and see, because you want to know what's going on a few weeks into school. That's when you can make those connections and start to understand and form relationships with teachers, and so that open communication can start. But anyways, we are going to do an in-depth fifth grade parent orientation or kind of get to know your teacher night a couple of weeks into school. So that's definitely going to happen. This meeting Thursday is just to kind of dispel a lot of those myths. Have them come in, I'll kind of walk them through what a typical day will look like for your child, some of the changes to expect, some of the academic changes to expect, the behavioral changes to expect, the bus changes to expect, all those changes, kind of dispel a lot of those rumors and myths that are out there, and then hopefully get them off into summer thinking, positive thoughts, which is what we want to do, because, I know Dr. Garceau said it coming in, and I used to tell the barbershop stories all the time. People say things out in the community, and it's not always accurate. So you want to dispel a lot of those myths before they become, because those things can become, in people's minds, reality. So we are doing that to ease some of that. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, it does. Also, too, just from what I hear as well, too, I know I was a parent going through, one of the greatest, assets you have there is your music and your band programs. And you talk about a cross-reference. If you went to the concert last month, and the musical was about 2 months ago, a great cross-reference of your population from the fifth graders to eighth graders, boys and girls,
Right.
is almost equal participation. And you say, yeah, the kids just like you that are up there.
Right. It's such a great program, and I am so impressed every time we have an event. I'm finishing my second year, and I'm just so impressed every event we have to watch the band and the chorus. They bring in the chamber choir, such a presence to everything we do, and we have such talent on there. And the talent behind you is coming back to the middle school. We are going to have art next year. I can say that. We're going to have art. So that's a great connection. What a great art program there is at the high school. We need to feed that. We need to feed it from the middle school. So that's one of it's not captured in the SIP, but I can tell you that is a huge direction that we want to push students as well. So
Thank you, Mr. Craig. Anything else? No? Okay, thank you again, sir. I'd entertain a motion to approve the Oxford Middle School SIP.
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded, further discussion? Being none, I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Record show 5 in the affirmative. Thank you again, both wonderful stewards to the community and what they do and ambassadors for all your students are. Okay, our next item is, and Mr. Connolly, you have handbook changes too in front of you.
Right.
Okay, we'll talk about those.
Mr. Chairman, the members of the committee have all been provided with the handbook, and Mr. Konaki has highlighted just those changes proposed for next year.
Yeah,
There was only a
I didn't
couple
capture
slides. Go ahead.
I didn't capture it in one document, because there's a lot of changes, but there's not a lot of changes. Some of it's just little, little adjustments to certain
Novocaine is a heck
languages.
of a thing.
Get this piece of cotton in my mouth, it's bleeding, trying to, so I don't know how you,
I can't see out of my left eye, right? So we're kind of on the same boat here.
it's full of, well, I don't want to say, it's full of blood right now, I can feel it. So I don't know if you want me to speak to every change that was made, or every adjustment.
Let's go back. I think we've all had a chance to review it. Any specific questions from Mr. Cannacchioli or comments that anyone makes through? You talked about the transitional room earlier. I do like your piece on tardies.
Yep, tardies is going to be a big focus for us next year.
Dennis, go right ahead.
Page 13, the driving of the bicycles to school.
Yes,
The riding of the bicycles.
yes.
I would like you to please add to that it's Mass General Law, Chapter 85, Section 11B.
Okay,
I
so-
still see kids coming in without helmets on. So how do you handle that?
It's ironic you bring that up, because a student came in this morning without a helmet, and his bike's in my office. So he's not leaving the grounds without a helmet. Contacted parent. Parent said that the bus has gone by the past several days. Guess not seeing the young man sitting out waiting for the bus, so today she had him ride the bike in. Said he didn't have a helmet, so I said, I'm just going to keep the bike. You can certainly come get the bike, or if you provide him a helmet, then he can certainly drive it home. But yeah, no, that's straight. I've taken a few bikes this year. I shouldn't say taken, I've just held on to the bikes until the parent has either come to get the bike, or they've brought a helmet in, and then the student takes it.
You always have a teacher outside,
Yep.
for parent pickup, drop-off, for the buses coming in. Does that teacher reprimand the students that come in without helmets?
He reports the students to me,
Okay.
and then I deal with the students from there.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. I think that in with this also is an opportunity, if students want to ride their bikes in with the helmet, they need to sign off on some kind of a pledge or some kind of promise to wear their helmet, I just see it too much. It's just too much. Because some of these kids, the way they weave in and out of the traffic on Main Street is incredible.
Right,
So it's scary, to see them doing that.
right.
So that's my concern, and that's my only
Yep.
recommendation, is just to add that Chapter 85. So parents, if they say, they need to see it, they can look it up under Mass General Laws.
Chapter 85, was there other?
Section 11B.
Okay. And then I will add, what we can do is we can create a, because students need to bring in a note from home, permission, that parents are given the permission to ride.
Yeah.
So we can create a document, and any student that wants to needs to bring it home, and we can have that language in there that they are required to wear a helmet, and we can have that all off and have them sign off. So we can do that.
It's huge, especially if they're on Main Street.
Yeah.
Anywhere, actually. It
No, I
can be
agree.
Any street, it doesn't have to be Main Street.
Right. The thing is when they're wearing the headphones too, driving their bikes, that's the thing right now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's all I have, sir, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bitar?
So earlier in the year, I believe it was, yes, we had a parent that had come in about the honor roll requirements, and I see that there were some changes. Do these changes encapsulate, I think it was Mrs. McGrath? Do these
It was.
So do these encapsulate her concerns?
It does, to a degree. When she brought that to the table last year, I kind of agreed with her. I think the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s are very subjective. There's no, I don't know how you can document or quantify how you're giving that number. So it's still presently going to be on the report cards. I would like to look at changing that for next year. As a parent, I would like to see more description in the comments. Like right now, I think teachers can only put a comment in. I would like to change it so if we get rid of conduct and effort, potentially, and this is just my thought, to be able to have 3 or 4 places where parents, teachers could put in descriptions as to what's going on. So in other words, if my son has an 85 or daughter has an 85 but is getting a 3 in effort, like, that to me is concerning. Like, a 3, he's got an 85. What could they be doing better? What's the problem? So I would be all over my child. Well, what's going on? But the 3 doesn't tell me. So if I see an 85 and it says not working up to potential, missing homework, whatever, now I can sit and have that conversation with my child and say, well, 85 is great, good job, but what is this? Missing homework, this and that. So I just didn't want to get into that, and Mrs. McGrath might not have been the only one that had these. She just happened to be the one who came forward. So to answer your question in a long-winded way, yes, that was part of it, but it's also my belief. I didn't think the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 should be keeping them off. If they've earned the grade, they've earned the grade. So that's why I took that off.
Oh, great. So this would answer her concerns from
Yeah.
earlier in the year.
It-
Wonderful.
Yeah. I'm not sure if she has any more, I know her daughter's in 8th grade, I'm not sure if she has any other children in our building, but.
Anything else, Mr. Matar?
I don't believe so, but
Okay, we can come back. Mrs. Griffin?
I have some questions.
Sure,
One in regards to the school dress code.
yes.
Store-bought ripped jeans are allowed at the discretion of administration. Why would you even want to kind of open that can of worms?
Yes, I got,
How do we know if they're store-bought?
Val and Jean, you have my 2 secretaries said the same thing to me.
Yeah.
Why would you want to go there? It's just one of those it's one of those things that has been kind of, middle school's gotten beaten up on a little bit, and not that I want to open up a free-for-all on the dress code, but, it is a style. You can go to stores and buy these jeans. Is it going to be a problem? Potentially, and, if needed, we could just make an amendment to the dress code policy. I just, I believe in, students having some freedom to dress how they want. I'm not always a believer that the dress makes the student. I mean, obviously appropriateness is important.
Right.
And being respectful is important. But, I mean, they're selling these items at any major store that kids shop at. So, yeah, in talking to, talking to staff at meetings, I've entertained any thoughts that they had about the change to the handbook, and this was one of the thoughts I had, and pros and cons.
Right. It's just a fine line, and I know middle school students are so good at debating and
It is.
making their case.
It is.
I don't know if you'd want that headache.
I'll come back to you in October and say, you know what, you were right, and it's probably going to be a headache. But I think it's like anything you do, there's going to be a place where you can manipulate the rule, or you can try to stretch it, or whether it's the pants or the shirt or the yoga pants is still
Right.
somewhat of an issue. And we certainly curbed that last year when we changed the language to what was in the dress code. But no matter what you do, there is going to be that. I just felt like we'd give it a chance, and if it becomes a big issue, then we can just amend it.
Okay. Then my other question is in regards to Alice. I see that, to be honest, I'm thrilled that the district's adopting Alice as a school safety protocol, but I do see that you have things listed in order, and I just wanted to ask, is that a prescribed order that the district is following in regards to Alice, or are you folks really taking Alice to heart and not putting an order in place?
Right, that's one of the questions that when I went to the training in Fitchburg State in September, that was one of the questions that I struggled with, because it isn't sequential. It
Right.
doesn't have to be. I mean, I always felt like that's the right way to go. So that's the prescription that we're prescribing, but within that prescription, you can veer off of it. I mean, if you're alerted that the intruder is on the 2nd floor down by the east wing, and you're on the 1st floor on the west wing, well, you don't need to go, you just get out.
So you're
The alert comes and you evacuate, and you get those kids as far away from the building as you can. So that's what we've been practicing in our trainings.
Okay. I just wanted to
Talking
clarify.
about in our meetings.
I just wanted to clarify that teachers weren't, and staff weren't being told that they had to have a prescribed order. They have that discretion and power
They do.
to do what they feel that's in the best interest of their students.
They do, and
And
some people
themselves.
will take the initiative, and some people just need a direction. So this gives them a direction, and then off of that, they can make decisions.
Just, I just really want people to be empowered and know that they shouldn't have to follow a certain
Right.
direction, or should they be told that this is a protocol because that's contrary to Alice. And so if that's the understanding that you have in regards to it, I would advocate further training for our district with other police departments and whatnot to come in from, surrounding communities that have implemented it, because I really want the students and the teachers to be empowered to follow it appropriately.
I agree. I know we rolled it out in March,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna, each building has kind of worked their own way of implementing and practicing, and then, moving forward, I would assume in the fall that we continue to work with Sergeant Granette and Lieutenant Sad from the Oxford Police, who went to the training with me as well, so. And hopefully with, the new money, the capital money that's been allocated to the schools, that we can upgrade the security system and our cameras, and hopefully along with all that can come some more training.
Yeah, I think this is terrific that you guys are, that you have this in your handbook, and the only thing I'd like to caution is just the
Yeah.
order. I think it should be clarified that there is no prescribed order. It should be to the discretion of, the teachers, and students should also know that they are empowered to make decisions that they need to make for their safety. So, that's all.
right.
Thank you.
Anything else? Tara,
I
yes.
did find my other note here. The other thing with regards to the 1 and 2 in conduct and effort was under the National Junior Honor Society, and I don't know if there are other reasons for that it needs to remain in there, but
Yes, because their National Junior Honor Society is a separate entity, so to speak. Would that be the right way to describe it? They're bound by their own set of guidelines, so Joanne Grumsky, who is the advisor, was open to it, but I guess protocol did not allow it to be done to mirror what we're doing, because that has to go back to their committee.
Okay.
And they have a committee that would have to accept the change.
all right.
So for the time being, it had to stay status quo.
The only other comment that I had, and Mrs. Griffin kind of touched upon it, but, with regards to making the change in the dress code, I think I'm on the fence about that as well. And, I don't know, sometimes I think it's, if you're, I don't know, I agree with her. I think we might be opening up a can of worms with that. The store-bought ripped jeans. I just looking at what the other, it seems to contradict some of the other guidelines of the policy.
Again, the only reason I entertained it was just because there was a lot, shouldn't say a lot, but there was people who do a lot of complaining about it. And I just thought we'd give it a try, but I'm certainly open to the committee's recommendation. I'm fine.
Blame it on us.
Yeah. I was just going to say that, so I thank you for saying it.
Blame her, don't blame me.
I don't mind.
I'm okay with however you decide on that.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Knuckle, if this is what if your council was good with this, as far as I'm concerned, I have a daughter at home that would love to see that. And if it's not impacting the education, if the kids feel comfortable coming to school, I'm happy to give it a shot.
Yeah, I think it'll just be an impact on them testing it, like I said earlier, like any other rule or policy. They're going to see how far they can stretch it. And if it becomes a huge entity on its own, then I just make an amendment and come to you guys. I want to adjust the handbook.
Yeah.
And, and just send home a notice to parents. We've amended that policy. There are no longer, that would be the easy route. But I would certainly like to see it, but I certainly, again, would defer to the committees.
I'm fine with that as written now, personally, if anyone else.
Me too.
Okay, that's fine.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion to accept, anything else for the handbook? No? Entertain a motion to accept the handbook for the Oxford Middle School with changes outlaid tonight by, outlined tonight by Mr. Knackole.
So moved.
Second.
Moved in second. Any further discussion? And I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, let the record show, 5 in the affirmative, no abstentions, no one against, and you're all set. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Knackole.
very much.
Okay, our next item is an update on the FY16, let me change glasses, FY16 school budget. Ms. Folio and Dr. Garceau, we do have a pack handout.
Dr. Garceau and I have been spending quite a bit of time reviewing the budget and reflecting a lot of the RIFs that went through. I've also changed the format of the budget so that you can see actual expenses, FY 15 voted, and the FY 16 request. We have not got it into balance yet. We've made extensive cuts. One of the areas I have most of my concern is the ever-increasing special ed costs. We're looking at over $600,000 more than last year at this point. So I'm still spending some time trying to review that because that's worse than the other cuts that I had to make. It does impact the rest of your operational budget when you have those kind of increases. Some of them are coming because there was quite a bit of an increase on out-of-placement, out-of-district costs per student. They went from like $28,000 per student to $38,000 per student, and that's a significant increase. And that was one of your cheaper programs. So we are just taking a closer look at that, and hopefully in the next time you meet, we'll give you a balanced budget. I'm also trying to save as much school circuit breaker money for this year to be able to apply to offset that next year, because those costs are so staggering at this point.
Thank you, Ms. Fuller. Questions?
Still in motion.
Mr. Bitar.
So the document that was just given to us this evening, this is the FY 16?
15, that's your monthly appropriation report that
Okay.
I said that I would give you every month.
Okay, so we don't have the proposed amendments to FY
No.
16 yet?
Yeah.
So there's nothing, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for that clarification.
And what I would like to request is, this committee worked very hard over the winter months and into the spring, attending numerous budget workshops to really get a handle, line by line, of the budget. And, at public hearing, we passed a budget, and obviously that's not the budget that got voted at town meeting. I would like to see us regroup in a workshop to go over the revisions that we plan on making, and no disrespect meant to either Dr. Garceau or Mrs. Folio, but this is our budget, and I think that, I know under the law, we control where things are allocated, and I think that we need to have some serious conversations as a committee regarding specific cuts and where things are going to be made as we move into FY 16.
Thank you, Mr. Bitar. I have a question kind of on the same note. With the exclusion going through past town meeting and the ballot box, when is that money going to become available, and when are we going to start seeing proposals going out for the equipment?
July 1st is when it's available. I'm not sure what Kadian has plans for going out to bid as of yet. I don't know if that's going to be on a collaborative bid or individual.
Director Phillips is meeting with a number of vendors as we speak. We met this afternoon. He was looking at security cameras and the Eno boards and those different things, and he's lined up a number of demos and meetings with vendors. So he's certainly looking to get best price on those things and be as efficient with those funds as he can be.
Okay, and then the school committee, the members of the committee will have a chance to look at those proposals and
Certainly.
the equipment that's being proposed with this money.
Absolutely.
Because people are asking us out there, hey, what's this going to look like? And we have just another description that we put a lot of faith out there. People put a lot of faith in us to deliver a product. And we do want to take a quick look, a long look over the product list of what we're getting to make sure that we're getting the bang for the buck and that we expect that we want to put our schools at.
I can certainly invite Mr. Phillips back to give you an update on that whole process, the bid process and the meetings that he's holding. He'd be happy to do that.
Will he be at our next meeting anyways, as part of the improvement plan?
No, but I could ask him to be here.
I think that's very, very prudent at this stage.
I did have a request
second.
from the public safety people to be involved with the technology that involves security.
Absolutely.
They want to be involved in that. I'm also looking at doing a little bit more of the Alice training in regards to the use of radios. In discussions with some of the public safety people, they didn't feel that that was covered well enough, and they wanted to have a little, maybe 2-hour session with, more geared to those people that have radios in the schools and proper use, and there are, I guess, ways of using the radio that is silenced, but they can hear codes, clicks, or whatever on it, and they wanted to make sure that everybody was on the same page.
That's very important. Thank you for bringing that forward, yes. Okay.
Can I
Yes, go
bring up
ahead.
another thing in regards to Alice? Training with staff in regards to their own personal devices for communication as well, I think is a crucial thing that needs to be put into place. So,
Thank you. Anything further on the education, on the budget, or for the business manager? No? Thank you, Mrs. Fuller. Dr. Garso? Anything further on this?
No,
No,
nothing
thank
else, sir.
All right, correspondence being none. We do have a request for an out-of-state field trip, and this will be an educated trip. We have a handout in our packets to Nature's Art Dinosaur Park, Montville, Connecticut, on July 1st, 2015. And it does list on that document the field trips and the good things that educators doing this summer. Dr. Garceau, just before I take the vote on this, as when these are accepted, can we also put those on the scroll too? The handouts are on the town website.
Certainly.
So parents will know some of the programming that they've been working hard on. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the educated student out-of-state field trip to Nature's Art Dinosaur Park, Montville, Connecticut, on July 1st, 2015.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? Being none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Record show 5 in affirmative, and it's all set, and have please post that.
Will do.
Okay. Dr. Garceau, your report this evening.
Well, my report is brief. It's just been a very, very busy time in town, especially for our seniors last week. And I had the opportunity to attend an outstanding evening on senior night, which was Wednesday night, which was an opportunity to award scholarships and other awards to our seniors. The reformatting, I've got to say, of that evening, that allowed for family members who were sponsoring scholarships to tell a bit of the story as to why, and some of the other backstory behind some of those scholarships. There was some very touching stories, and it was a really a beautiful night, Wednesday night. Friday night, graduation couldn't have been better. The weather was spectacular. The students were so well behaved and proud. We had a great turnout, a great send-off from Ms. Moscoffy and Ms. Hodgeny. Wonderful speeches by those beautiful ladies. So it was just a terrific night. It's been a while since we've been here, in part because of the Monday holiday, Memorial Day, and this is the first meeting we've had since the passage of Question 2. And I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank all those supporters of that ballot question. It's going to bring much-needed technology infusions to all of our buildings, and I certainly will ask Mr. Phillips to be here next time to speak to how that's rolling out. But it's really going to bring considerable investment in technology into our schools, long overdue. I do think that with our special ed costs and with some of the other challenges we face, while this was a one-time investment, I do think that we need to continue to push the conversation about the adequacy of the funding to all town departments over this next year, because my fear is that if we don't continue that conversation, we'll be in the same position next year where we have to make significant cuts to staffing. This Question 2 passage was, again, about a one-time investment in technology, But ongoing, the police department, the fire department, the DPW, the schools, all need to be adequately funded. And I think it's beyond time for the town to have a serious, ongoing, thoughtful conversation about whether or not the tax structure as it is adequately meets our needs. That being said, I thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Guraso. Mr. Spitz.
I have a few things to talk about.
Go right ahead.
I also wanted to thank the town for the vote. It's a real shot in the arm for the school department, and I think you'll see the benefit of that as the years come through. On Thursday, on May 28th, I went to the sports banquet. I always enjoy going to that every year. It's great to see the athletes getting awards. On the 3rd of June, I went to class night. It was a great night. It was really super, as you said, to see those people discussing how that award came to be and how the scholarship was awarded. Thursday night, I went to yearbook night, and congrats to Commander Maisley for having the yearbook named after him, or dedicated to him, not named. He'd like it named, but it's dedicated to him. And that was great, and of course, graduation on the 5th was just fantastic. It was a beautiful day. The weather couldn't have been better. The speakers were fantastic. Ms. Hodgenes and Mrs. Moscofian, all the student speakers did a fabulous job, really represented the school well, and I thank them for that. And that's pretty much it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spitz. Mrs. Ennis.
I just want to say happy graduation to the class of 2015. It was a great night, as Mr. Spitz said. And I also want to wish luck to the students. I think it's 6 students that are going to Boys and Girls State at Stonehill College next week. And that's a big event for them, so I wish them well.
Thank you, Ms. Ennis. Mrs. Griffin.
I just want to kind of chime in and reiterate, it was wonderful to be in attendance at graduation and see all those wonderful students come up and receive their diplomas. I was very proud of Oxford. And in particular, I really, my heart goes out to everybody that supported us for question 2. It just, like you said, it's a shot in the arm, to say the least. It really makes me feel like we're making steps in the right direction. In regards, though, to the budget and the future, Chapter 70 is still not getting the funding. I personally believe that is needed for our district to get the funds that we need. I have been in touch with Senator Fatman twice so far. We have been discussing the fact that he would like to see the committee kind of come together and write a letter to the Commissioner of Education and definitely do something where we can kind of help and support our community to also advocate on behalf of the funds that we need here. So if we can kind of put together some numbers in regards to our out-of-district placement costs and other big things that kind of take away from the funding of our students. If we don't get that UGA money and things like that in particular, we need to make that case so the commissioner understands, and also so our representatives understand that we need more money to make this district in particular run the way it needs to run. So I said I'd bring that up, and hopefully, I don't know if we can form a subcommittee coming up or something to that effect to work on contacting our representatives. That would be greatly appreciated. I'm also excited to hear about our district working on data. In particular, I'd like to know if our district's doing district-determined measures yet, and if that's
We do have
something.
those in place.
Besides the MCAS being a district-determined measure, do particular teachers have their own district-determined measures that tie in with their student goals this year?
They do. Those were
Okay.
negotiated last year through the OEA.
That's wonderful to hear. So it makes me happy to hear that we're just making such great growth. I'm thrilled with the school improvement plans and seeing that big 3 and seeing that vision and seeing everything tied in. I mean, it just really warms my heart because it's a complete turnaround from where we've been in the past. So thank you very much to everybody that's done all that hard work. That's it.
Mr. Bitar.
Thank you. My first comment here is thank you to the people of Oxford for supporting our schools. I think everybody else on the committee said it, but I'm going to say it again. This is a wonderful time of year to be on the school committee because we had such great support from the community for that capital override. We had a wonderful graduation ceremony on Friday, and I think I'm going to go on record as saying that's my favorite duty as a member of the school committee, is handing out diplomas to graduating seniors. Again, the keynote speakers, I wish them well in their retirement and then their next chapter in their journey, and for the students, best of luck in the future, and don't forget where you came from. But they did a phenomenal job. The student speakers in particular really impressed me. I had, since the last time we've met, I had the pleasure of attending the ROTC award ceremony, as well as some of the other committee members. Just an outstanding organization, and I think that they do get a lot of kudos in the community, and I think it's very well deserved. But to, I think, Dr. Garso's point, I'd love to see more of our other extracurriculars represented in town events as well. Perhaps we could have the chorus sing the national anthem at town meeting or something. But at any rate, that ROTC awards banquet is always a phenomenal event. Congratulations to the students that earned their awards. Congratulations to the students that are working towards them. I know that Commander runs a tight ship, and it's not an easy program to be involved with. I also attended the career fair here at Oxford High School. This was my first time, and I think it was a nice event. Now I'm a little more aware of what it is, and hopefully if I'm invited back, I'll be better prepared in the future. But it was great to talk to some of those young people, and it was interesting. I ended up sitting next to Representative Frost, and the question that he asked most of the students was, so if you had to go out and get a job today, what would your dream job be? And the overwhelming response from the kids was lawyer. So I don't know if there's any civics or anything that we might want to look at incorporating, but that was sophomores and juniors, correct? So that was a great day. I wanted to pass my regrets on to the OMS National Junior Honor Society. I believe they're having their induction ceremony Wednesday. I'm unfortunately not able to attend, but I went last year. It was a great event, and I'm sure congratulations to those inductees. I know I've been reading a lot on the school committee blogs that there's a number of resolutions or legislation, particularly related to testing and high-stakes testing. And I'm thinking maybe as a future agenda item, we may want to consider sending a letter of support for a moratorium on high-stakes testing. I know that that's become that's buzzing around the legislature right now, and I think that with all the uncertainty that we have going on in MCAS versus Park, and what do we do if we go to Park? Do we have the technology infrastructure? And it's part of the teachers' evaluations now, and I just think there's a lot of unknowns, and I personally think that that's something I would support a moratorium on that while we study, and I think that that's something that we should look at as a committee. And then finally, this is just with regards to the agenda this evening. I guess we missed the boat on on the reorganization. I don't know if this is pertinent or not, but I'll tell you that I was reading through a handbook on MASC, the Mass Association of School Committees, and it indicated that there's no time requirement for revising your agenda. I don't know if that's something you want to look into, but if you, as long as the meeting is posted, the revision, if you want to add agenda items, isn't subject to the same, I think it's 48 hours. That was according to something I read in MASC, so that might be a good thing for us in the future in case that happens again. And The student representative had to leave tonight. I think we missed her on the agenda, so she just had two things that she wanted me to
go right ahead,
let
yeah.
everybody know about. That we have the community-wide talent show on Friday, June 19th at 5:30. All are welcome to attend, and I didn't write down where it is. I think it's
It's here at the high
Is it here? It's okay, it's here at the high school. And then she also said that the freshmen are taking their science MCAS this week, and good luck to them. So,
Very good.
that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Matar. You know,
If I could just
oh, good.
Can I just tail on to something that Mr. Batar was saying? This Thursday evening is the MASC legislative meeting, and I'm on the board, and I'll bring in all the information from that, all those bills that are coming up, and that's what we discuss. Some of them will be put to the side, and we'll be told by our attorney, Steve Finnegan, where we're at with those, so I'll bring in all the information I have on those.
Great, thank you, Ms.
Okay.
Ennis. All right, just to kind of piggyback, a lot of great things happened tonight at this meeting, a lot of good things were said. Again, MCAS going on right now for students out there. Good luck, continue the hard work, and, you know, one of the strengths, as I see having a student in this building and actually taking biology, is just a science program. There's so many good things happen in this program, and just so many good things. And you know, she's like, Dad, we're so well prepared. Everything was on the test. We knew, we covered it in class. And she was just so excited about, you know, the testing. And it's like, okay, that's great. Let's see how they come out and see how tomorrow goes. But good luck to all the students that are out there that, yes, in all your disciplines, that we are so well aligned, that going through the curriculum and the overviews and new leadership, that we're getting to where we've got to be. And now how we had to reach every student. The end of the year is such an exciting time of year, and there's so many things going on, so many different events, and I deeply apologize for missing graduation. I run graduation, I'm a high school, I work in high school myself in Worcester, and I graduate from the same night, and part of my job responsibility is coordinating running graduation. So a special thank you to all the individuals from the high school that put that on, all the behind-the-scenes work to accommodate for every child. When every graduate's called, they're in the right spot in line, that there's no shuffling of names, and it's a capstone project for the 12, 13 years that they are in high school, and thanks you to every single teacher that had every input to get them to where they are, to be proud graduates of Oxford High School. So congratulations to them and every other activity that's going on over the last couple of months or so, the end of the year. So that's all I have on that one. I just do have one item of business as well, too, and I sent it in. I received a couple of complaints about a book that is in the 9th grade level, and complaints in terms of, so I know I have the curriculum coordinator, Ms. Thibault, here, and it's not about banning a book, but to be able to look at the text and look at it and read a book. The book is Brave New World, and it's by...
Aldous Huxley.
Yes. Where it is, if you could just examine where it is in our curriculum, and how it fits into the big scheme. I know a lot of students are struggling with that, and it is an irony. However, some of the content of the book, particularly the high level of drug use and the promiscuity, again, being ironic, but the high level of vocabulary, some of the students may not understand that, and these are complaints I'm receiving, being a parent as well, and other complaints outside of my household. If we could take a look at that book and how it's aligned with our curriculum. On the other side, there's a high level of Shakespearean reference. However, at that stage, the students haven't really read all the books yet. So, in many districts, put that up into the AP section, where the seniors read that and they may have a little better understanding. So if we just send back to a curriculum director, coordinator, principal, and you work with your team at the OHS to look where that goes, and then report back to the committee on where that is. So that was a complaint I got from the committee. Okay. That being said, and at this stage, I will, correspondence, let me go through my agenda here. I'll open the floor. Questions or comments from the floor? Anyone? Anyone? I'll close the floor. Any further business in front of the board this evening? Being none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. I'll call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you. Good evening.
I have photos.
I saw your text.